Hey guys, hope you're all doing well. Now for today's video, I'm actually going to be joined by a special guest. Alright man, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey everybody, I am Brad Jost, host of the Jurassic Park Podcast.
Yeah, and he knows a lot of stuff that I would love to sift his brain over and learn about. So today we're actually going to be talking about all of the news that has recently come out about the new Jurassic World live tour that Brad, Jennifer Terrick, Josh Evans, Tal, and Chris got to go to. And there was a lot of new information that was revealed, and I really want to cover all of it because I find it to be pretty fascinating, to tell you the truth. So what did you see when you went out there?
Man, that's a loaded question. You know?
Yeah, I know.
You know, they were super generous. We didn't know actually what to expect at all. Me and Chris and Jen and Josh and everybody were talking like, what is this going to be? What are they going to show us? We didn't really know. So when we stepped foot in that building and we realized they really set up this first session just for us, like Outpost and the podcast. Wow. It was pretty impressive. You know, we were very excited about that they had all these different stations according to whether it was like the wardrobe or the props and the dinosaurs, the creative team, the casting and the stunt work, and then there was like a Jeep, you know, Jurassic World Jeep. There was a gyrosphere. They had the Blue was there. They had the Troodon. So there was like so much stuff that they had set up for us to just take in. It was kind of inspiring and just amazing to have that ability to check it all out.
Yeah, and I had no idea that you guys were even going out there to look at that. So when you started posting pictures of like a full-sized blue Velociraptor and Jeeps, and like you were talking about motorcycle stunts, I think was something that they were talking about, and the Troodon, I was like, what is all this? I thought this was going to be like a reskinned version of the exhibition, just like you get to see what they were currently making. I didn't know that they had built a lot of stuff already, so that was a shock.
Well, the best thing I think that really made us happy was when we first learned that, you know, that key art that they've been, you know, promoting the show with, that features Blue. I think it has a Troodon, maybe some other stuff on there, and it also has the T-Rex, which was the same model of T-Rex, maybe a little bit different looking skin than the one that we saw in the exhibition. They're similar word.
Right, yeah. The Walking with
Dinosaurs one.
T-Rex.
We saw that and we were all so afraid that that's what they were going with. My initial thought was, oh, they had to save some money here or there, so they ended up just reusing the same one. But we learned like pretty quickly that that's not the case. They actually have the CG model that they're scaling up for the T-Rex, screen-accurate T-Rex.
Oh, wow.
It's 43 feet long. There was actually some discrepancies in the speed of it. One person said 16, another person said 6. So I'm going to try to figure that out specifically. But apparently the thing's going to like walk out, you know, pretty quickly, interact with the audience. If somebody's making some noise, it'll look in their direction. The people
Cool.
have the ability to control this thing, so if there's a noise over there, they can look over there. If it's over here, you know, they're going to make a point to say, like, the vision is based on movement, so if you're moving in the audience, the thing's going to look at you. So
what? No way, that's awesome sounding.
It sounds really awesome. Yeah, they were very forthcoming about this show is going to, you know, break down the barriers between the show and the audience. There's going to be things, I don't know if it's like the dinosaur suits themselves or just performers. They said performers are going to be coming down the aisles. There's going to be pteranodons flying around in the rafters up there. There's going to be a lot of stuff interacting with you, the audience. And specifically, I believe they're called the environmental seats, which are basically like the stage level seating that is essentially part of the show. It's kind of crazy.
Like courtside, basically.
Like exactly, yeah.
Well, see, you bring that up, and when I went to the 25th anniversary for Jurassic Park, I don't know how often they do this, but they brought out like some Alan Grant and Owen Grady style people, and there was raptors that had broken out, and they were like, you were a part, like they were in front of you. Yeah, they were trying to catch the raptors. Is it going to be similar to that?
Yeah, I mean, in a way. It's been
obviously on a bigger scale. But
yeah, it would seem to be a much bigger scale. I haven't taken a look at that in a while. Actually, are they still doing that? I'm kind of...
Oh, that was my first time to California. So
yeah. Well, right now, I mean, that whole land is going through some changes. I think they are still doing some stuff with that just to kind of keep the pace up there. But that is a little interesting just because it's so wide out in the open under the harsh sunlight and all that stuff. So I think this will look even better because if you look at the promo video and everything, it looks really good. Like it looks even better than what we saw in person just because the lighting is so atmospheric and perfect. And if you've ever gone to a live show like that, they're really going to dial in on the look of each scene and everything. So it's going to look pretty realistic, and you'll kind of like forget that there are people underneath there because this is the kind of dinosaur where you can see the black leggings underneath just kind of moving around with the dinosaur legs next to them. But I'll say it doesn't really detract from it. Some do in some cases, other shows and other dinosaurs, but these ones didn't really bother me all that much.
Yeah, well, I mean, especially if you're going to be sitting in like a seat and you're aware that it is a live show, it should be fine. And I know that they're not all the same size as like, you were talking about the T-Rex. That's much bigger than a person. Oh yeah,
so, that's the fully animatronic. Like it's pretty awesome. I mean, they didn't show anything off aside from some computer graphics versions of it walking around in like a route around the stage there. But they said they're still working on that. It's not done yet, so nobody has actually seen it like in the full yet, so that'll be coming sometime in the future, I guess.
I'm really excited for that. I mean, I'm a big T-Rex guy, so that's like number one on my list.
Yeah.
Okay, so going in from that, T-Rex, which I want to get into the story because obviously you can elaborate further, but from what I understand, it takes place during the Indominus breakout in Jurassic World, and then we jump ahead in time to a brand new story. And from what I understand, it is canon, and it has been worked with Steven Spielberg, Frank Marshall, and Colin Trevorrow.
Yeah, it's always amazing when you're standing in a room with people and they're like, yeah, we were, discussing this with Colin Trevorrow and Steven Spielberg and Frank Marshall. It's like, what? This happened? Oh my God, like this is awesome.
You know what you're saying right now, right?
Yeah, now I am like 3 degrees away from Steven Spielberg or something, whatever it is. So right. It's amazing that this is, it's considered canon. They kept saying this is all within canon. It's all within canon. So that's really, really nice to hear because I know, like, along with you and other Jurassic fans, it's like we just want to have more and more stories to discuss and to see and to think about. And yeah, the fact that it starts like with the downfall of Jurassic World is awesome in my book because I'm the kind of guy who likes, I love the stories that we have with Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom, and I just like to look to the left a little bit as well and, see what happened over there, what was going on the side while all this stuff was happening.
And even in something like The Lost World, where I'd be like, did all of those hunters get pulled under the long grass?
Yeah. Or there's some guys just like chilling, like, hey, where's my copter? I didn't get out of it. Like, are you guys going to take me home or what?
Yeah, real quick, just to throw it in there, there's like a tiny bit of trivia to where the guy in Jurassic World that actually like puts his bloody handprint on the car and scares Claire, that's the same actor that actually throws a stone at Carter in The Lost World and tells him to like get up when they're,
really?
So like maybe he survived and, we could have like a comic around him or something. I just love like stories like that, and it's cool that this is like a canon story that we can actually go and be like, okay, now during the Indominus rampage, this was happening too.
I know, and that's just what we want. Like we want these stories, these canon stories that take place within things that we know. I think that's pretty awesome. It's kind of like when you watch Rogue One. That's kind of tying into all the things that you saw in, Star Wars. It's amazing. Like that kind of thing is perfect for Jurassic, I think.
Oh yeah, they could do so much with it too. And it's one of those things where like if we start at the end of Jurassic World where the Indominus is attacking, and apparently we are introduced to the incredibly intelligent Troodon, which I'm sure you could tell a little bit more about because I know next to nothing apart from the fact that she's named Jeannie, and we skip ahead 3 months.
Yeah, I mean the reason she's named Jeannie is because they consider it a genius. It's kind of on the nose there, so that's why they named her Jeannie. She's very intellectual, and they figured this kind of dinosaur would be good to kind of, not dissect, but like just figure out what is going through dinosaurs' heads.
That's really good too. Not to like put too fine of a point on it, but from a paleontological standpoint, we still currently believe that the Troodon, which I believe was reclassified, is the most intelligent dinosaur out of like all the dinosaurs. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think it's great because you have Owen in the forefront. He's doing all the behavioral stuff and trying to train these dinosaurs. And then off to the side over here, you have what was her name? Let me look it up here. I think it was Kate Walker, I believe.
Oh, one of the new characters.
Yeah, Kate Walker. She is like a scientist on the island there. She's the one who's doing this whole, it's called the Dino Decoder that they're using. This part sounds a little hokey, I guess, at times. They're using a dino decoder to translate dinosaur emotions. So I don't know how this is going to play into the overall Jurassic story, but it is kind of interesting that they're trying to understand their feelings, their emotions, stuff like that, to see what's going on with these dinosaurs and why are they the way they are. How can we essentially better this whole weaponized dinosaur thing, is that because that's the ultimate goal. That's what they did make a point to say, like, that's the ultimate goal, right, is to have these weaponized dinosaurs. So
that was the big plot point really of both movies, of Fallen Kingdom and Jurassic World.
So Owen's doing his part and Kate Walker here is doing her part to try to create, I guess, the perfect specimen, right? That's probably what it all comes down to.
Right. And now I really want to get into some other material because, like, we learned, or at least you can tell me, I need to know, like, they jump ahead apparently to a secret InGen base in Chile.
Yeah.
Okay, what's going on there? That's some cool stuff.
I don't know, man. I wish I knew, but there's going to be a bunch of evil mercenary soldiers here, and of course
it's Jurassic Park.
Yeah. So think of the guys, like if you're questioning what is going on here, think of the guys in Jurassic World that came in on the helicopter, the InGen mercenaries. They're essentially those guys. Like, that's who they are. Slightly different attire to kind of replicate like a desert look, but they're all wearing scarves and stuff. Same thing as the Jurassic World guys. So they essentially want to use this dino decoder, but for kind of nefarious reasons. So it sounds really cool to have another facility. I think initially they had looked at Siberia as a location, and we've always heard rumors about Siberia and snow dinosaurs and stuff like that you would have out there. So that would be really cool, or Arctic dinosaurs and stuff. But instead we get Chile here, and it is a remote InGen facility. So I'm excited to see what is going on there, because that is the thing I think that it will branch out so many subjects for us to talk about.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing too. They have dinosaurs in that base, don't they?
Yeah, so that's the crazy part is, hey, California is not the only one with dinosaurs around the world.
They've got raptors, right?
Apparently, there's raptors there. Now, one thing to note, there was a video from Attractions Magazine that was floating around, and actually they were showing this video all day in certain TVs in the set there. There's a desert raptor that's shown there, and it's very reminiscent of like artwork and stuff that was on shirts and different promotional materials and stuff like that, merchandise. Yeah. So that's actually not going to be in the show, unfortunately. They said that they had to, I think, make some changes, and you might not see the desert raptor. It might be something else, still a raptor, but another kind of raptor, I guess.
Now, when you say changes, do you mean like the gear that was on like the kind of bulky Decepticon-looking stuff?
I think that'll still stay. I just don't think it's going to be desert themed. So I think it'll just be a new color, but it should be the same, because they did talk about, hey, in this one scene, you're going to be seeing what the dinosaurs are seeing. Essentially what we saw in Jurassic World with that whole sequence. Like the aliens thing. Yeah.
Yes.
So when I heard that, I was like, oh yeah, I love that idea. That is fantastic. That was one of my favorite parts in Jurassic World.
Mine too.
So yeah. It should be awesome.
They said it was pretty violent too. Not too violent, but they said it was. I had heard like they're putting an emphasis on there will be dinosaur attacks in this.
Yeah,
and there will be.
I wouldn't go too crazy in terms of violence. I think they said, essentially, if you are allowing your kids or whoever to watch Jurassic movies, this will be okay for them. They're not going to hold back. They said they're not going to, water it down or make this kid-friendly like, they do, I think, Sesame Street Live or Disney on Ice and stuff like that. So it's not going to be like that. But it will be, something of substance for adults and children alike. I think everybody will kind of like this. They did make mention that there will be like dino damage. So you will see like dinosaurs attack each other. And,
dino damage.
There will be, I guess there will be blood or, loose skin or something like that. And there will be like dinosaur on vehicle attacks. So they had to like come up with all these stunt works and stuff like that. It sounds like a huge pain to like, choreograph, but I'm excited because they seem to know exactly what they're doing. They're super professional, and I'm excited to see like dino battle damage. That's going to be really cool.
Yeah, me too. And I had heard there's like 24 different special effects for the dinosaurs. I saw like a baby Stegosaurus.
Yeah, so there's 7 species of dinosaurs, but there's going to be 24 different dinosaurs throughout the show. So multiples of the ones that you see. There's going to be a lot of them. I'm sure are just going to be pteranodons flying around at some point. You got the Troodon, you got Triceratops, Stegosaurus. So I think you'll see the adult and, I don't know how many adults, but there will be an adult and the baby. Oh, did I say trike? I meant stego. I don't know if I said that.
I think you said both, but
okay. No, I think there's just the adult Triceratops, but the Stegosaurus is the one with the baby, and then you have the Irex. So the Indominus will be there. I had a feeling that the Indominus is not as prominent as I would have thought. I think it will have an impactful moment, but maybe not be too prominent. And then you have the T-Rex and Blue, of course.
Yeah, and this is the big thing is I'm assuming the T-Rex, Indominus, and Blue are going to take place at the intro, like during the fall of Jurassic World. I assume, obviously, I have no knowledge on what the story is, but I'm just guessing that maybe the Indominus is going to be there for like a shock, like early on, and that's what's going to kickstart the actual story.
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling as well. I think that's what they're going to be doing. And they did make mention that there's almost like not a moment where the Troodon is not on stage. So it seems like that's going to be the more prominent figure. They're trying to build out this character, I guess, in the Jurassic universe, which is cool.
Yeah, it's very cool, especially because of the history of Troodon. Troodon has been a dinosaur in the series well before that Telltale game. It was if you count the Lost World novel where they just mention that it exists, not even as a clone, but as an animal that Richard Levine was calling out John Roxton for misclassifying. It's been in video games, like for the Lost World for Sega Genesis and Jurassic Park for the Game Gear. The new Troodon. Apparently this is like a new dinosaur, right? Like they've just cloned it or something.
I guess. They did say new dinosaur. I don't know if they were specifically saying, "Hey, this is our new dinosaur," or "This is a brand new in Jurassic Universe dinosaur." I don't really know. I wasn't sure how to take that.
I would assume maybe they're trying to say like it's a kind of a company secret. Mm-hmm. And that would work well. I don't know if they would want to incorporate the Telltale stuff, but that was certainly like a company secret, like the old game.
Yeah. Everything there was so secretive, and especially they have another base that's a secret.
Yeah, I know, right?
There's a lot of secrets with this company.
That's awesome, though. I'm super stoked for it. So, is there anything else that you can tell us about the show that we haven't gone over so far?
Well, I think one of the cool things is we talked about how like this will be a show that really resembles the movies and stuff like that. And Steven Spielberg noted that he wanted to capture the humor. So it's not just going to be all action and stuff. There will be a bit of humor. And even talking with the people and the directors and stuff like that, they're like, oh, yeah, I never really thought of Jurassic as humorous, but, it really is. And I have always seen it that way. I always laugh at these movies. I think they're pretty hilarious at times.
Yeah, well, you got the first one, the humor's pretty on the nose. Big Tim the Human Piece of Toast. You've got everything Malcolm says, but you've also got that is one big pile of what. And when you get the Lost World, see, this is where they throw a monkey wrench and everyone thinks Jurassic Park's like 100% serious 100% of the time is because Lost World's so dry, and it's funny, but it's like sarcastic until you get to the end with like the T-Rex and Santiago and gymnastics and stuff. Jurassic Park 3 is certainly humorous.
Yeah.
And the two new movies carry over a certain sort of pulpy air about them. So yeah, I am definitely interested in learning. Well, it's a live show too, so it's got to be somewhat humorous to keep like the crowd going.
Yeah, they're going to keep them, interested in I don't know, just interested in the show. They're never going to stop for like a scene change or anything like that. So all the stuff in the sets and the props and all that all can move and shift around depending on where the locations are. They're going to be using like a wealth of JP music, so expect to hear, some of your favorites out there. They've been working closely with NBC Universal to make sure they're using these in the right moments and stuff like that, so they're not out of place, I guess. We'll see if that pays off or not, but I'm certainly excited to hear a Jurassic show with Jurassic music. I don't think you could do it any other way.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I expressed an interest in recording it while I was there. Obviously, if I would be allowed to, I would put it on YouTube, and it wouldn't be monetized, obviously. It'd be copyrighted out the yin-yang, but that's fine, just because I know that this is exclusive to the United States at the moment. I know they have plans going to further areas, but it might be a while before people in Europe or somewhere gets to see it, right?
Yeah, so they didn't really give any kind of context as to where it will be going outside of the already announced dates. And basically, it's mostly on the East Coast. I think there is some random dates here and there, but it's mostly the East Coast. And eventually, they kind of basically like, well, this will follow the standard touring patterns that you see with our other big shows. So if you want to see like what those shows do, you'll get a good idea as to maybe where this show will stop as well. So it will eventually make its way out to the West Coast and all that. It will most likely eventually make its way across seas or overseas and visit the UK and stuff like that. So I mean, if you do see that this place is within some sort of distance to your house, go out and check it out, because you never know when stuff like this will just disappear.
Yeah, and that was my mistake, man. I didn't get to see the exhibition, and I'm not going to miss this live tour. Now that it's canon, there's no way I'm missing it.
Yeah, I don't think you can miss this one. We were all blown away. We all had expectations going in, but I think they really knocked it out of the park. They really know what they're doing. The directors were incredible. Just the way that everybody talks about this show. It was very exciting to hear and very collaborative, I think.
Yeah, it sounds awesome. And I certainly can't wait. It would be really cool if we could get like a group of Jurassic people together to go see it on one of the early things. That would be super interesting.
Oh, yeah. I feel like everybody is going to be, working out meetups and stuff like that. So, certainly keep your eyes out on, Facebook groups or Twitter or wherever, because, yeah, we'll all be doing this. We'll all be meeting up together, checking it out, buying seats together. It's going to happen.
Yeah, totally. Okay, now, and so what kind of stunts can we expect to see in the show? Because like I said, I know there's something about a motorcycle and there's Jeeps and gyrospheres involved. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, so, I mean, I have a bunch of pictures of the set itself. So they had this whole thing laid out so you could see, how much room there was. They had motorcycles out on there. They had the Jeep. So all these things will play into it. There is like a dino capture, ATV kind of looking thing. It looks like the thing that Zach and Gray, right? They took apart the battery, and it looks like that, but with like a scoop thingy on the front. There's the gyrosphere, of course, which is a working gyrosphere. So it doesn't rotate, like the gyrosphere would, but it does have wheels underneath, so it does move. But, all these things will be interacting together for, fight sequences. They said they made mention of high falls, the motorcycle stunts. There's going to be flamethrowers, I guess, and explosions.
What?
They said flamethrowers, so I'm holding them to it. They said flamethrowers, explosions, and of course people being eaten. So that, along with the dino fights and the battle damage, the vehicle attacks, I think it's going to be a very action-packed show. And the stunts, like the coordinators and everything, were like the most fit people. Like they're talking about like how intense the training is. They gave us this like harness thing to wear, and I believe it was only 60 pounds on our shoulders, and that was heavy. And they have to wear like 100 to 120 pounds at times on their shoulders with these dinosaurs on top of them. It's super heavy. So there's going to be a lot of like, I guess, shift changes and kind of things like that, so people aren't like carrying the load all too long. But they are athletic. They're just athletes, I guess. They're strictly athletes out there who can, do all these stunts, whether it, they seem coordinated in their stunts or not. Like they're just like kind of tripping along. It's all part of the plan. And actually they did a lot of, they showed a lot of the casting calls and stuff like that and the things that they had people do. And essentially one of the things they made them do was wear these little dinosaur puppets on their hands. And they said, like, this is what we want you to do. We're going to play some audio and we want you to act like a dinosaur. We're not going to give you really any other instruction other than just be a dinosaur. And they were showing the footage. It was hilarious. And, I guess it gave them a good sense as to who can do these things and who can, be the best dinosaur out there. And the way they train these people and get them to figure out like all these technologies and stuff like that, they actually have to train them to use like these dinosaur things that have little TV screens inside of them so they can see in front of them. There's buttons and levers and all kinds of things to control the hands, the mouths, the eyes. So I got to give them a lot of credit. The stunt work and everything is going to be super insane. I can't wait.
Now, that's one of the things that fascinates me the most is because that goes into the whole, like, massive planning that they've had to do for this thing. Because when I heard that there was going to be a live tour, I initially thought that it would be a non-canon experience where they would just, I don't know, they'd bring out, like, a Triceratops and say, like, oh, here's the Triceratops. It weighs X number of pounds. It was this long. Oh, and she's going back in her pen. And then they would, like, bring out a Velociraptor or a Stegosaurus. But to know that they've got, like, flamethrowers and guys doing high falls and like a secret engine base and like that's crazy that they're like, that's what's so exciting about it, is that it is a legitimate story that they're taking seriously, not in the movies. I would have been completely fine with it being quite child friendly as a live tour for families, but just the fact that you're saying there's going to be dino damage and like the flamethrowers itself is like throwing me for a loop. I don't know what that's going to be used for, but yeah, it's pretty exciting, man. Didn't expect this sort of news.
No, and you mentioned the non-storyline driven shows. Like the exhibition was fantastic and wonderful, but there was no storyline aside from you going to the island. That was it. Like, so that was impressive and inspiring and all that, but this is going to be a whole new level. I'm excited to see maybe how does this tie into the world? Is there any kind of secrets or hints, allusions to what we may see in the future? I don't know. I'm just excited to find out more. And man, I would love it if, Jurassic World 3 tied into some of these aspects a little bit. Maybe we see that base in Chile or maybe we see a desert raptor, even though it didn't show up here. I think it would be amazing to see how this all connects. And, within time, we'll get there.
That could be one way where they have like a file on a computer in Jurassic World 3 and they're like, oh yeah, the Chile incident or something,
Yeah.
But, it's super exciting, man.
It is really exciting. I can't wait to see it and experience it with all the fans out there. It's going to be a blast.
Like, all right, guys, that is the Jurassic World live tour rundown with Brad Jost from the Jurassic Park Podcast. Brad, tell everybody where they can find you.
Well, me in particular, you can find me on Twitter at Brad Jost, but the podcast itself, go to JurassicParkPodcast.com. You can find all our stuff on there. Our podcast is on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, all those places. Follow us on Twitter at Jurassic Park Pod, on Instagram at Jurassic Park Podcast, and on Facebook, same thing. So we're everywhere.
And I'm actually going to attempt to be with them pretty soon talking about Trespasser with Aaron, because he played the original one that was not fixed like the one I went through, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah, he's excited about that, I know.
Yeah, I am too, man, believe me. All right, Brad, thanks for coming on, man. It's been a blast.
Thanks for having me, dude.
Now, before I go, I want to thank all of my game wardens, as well as all of my InGen executives. I'd also like to thank all of my park workers and InGen hunters as well. Just the fact that you guys watch these videos and support my content means the world to me, and I want to make sure that all of you never forget that. Now, I'd like to thank everyone for taking the time to watch today's video, and hope that you all had fun. I'll see you on the next one, guys, and as always, take it easy.